Hello, everyone. I am your main host, Hunter Jones, and I would like to first come out and say before we get started that the channel is getting a name change. And also, as you can see, there's only two of us. We are only going to have two until we get some guest speakers, which again, I am very excited to have on. And this is my co host. You can go ahead and introduce yourself before we get started.
Hey guys, for those of you that watched the last video and obviously didn't see me in it, I'm Gabe. I'm Hunter's co-host. I'm a diehard Kansas City Chiefs fan, St. Louis Cardinals fan, Oklahoma State Cowboys fan. Basically every team that Hunter doesn't like. So this is gonna be fun.
Indeed, it is. So I originally planned on doing the top 10, just as a basis, the top 10 available free agents, which I will go over those that I just found in this random website. I think it's Sports Illustrated that I'm going to go off of. But this is just a basis of the top 10 free agents available. Also, if you didn't notice by the title of this video, we are going over NFL free agency. The main points we will get to is the top five free agents that we want our NFL teams to sign. So, according to Sports Illustrated, the top 10 goes Jonathan Grenard, an edge for the Texans. Number 10, Leonard Williams, the defensive tackle from the Seattle Seahawks, formerly the New York Giants, got traded this season. Chase Young from the 49ers. Mike Owenu, or Owanu, I don't know how you pronounce it. He's an offensive lineman from the New England Patriots. Number 6, you're not going to like this one. Baker Mayfield, quarterback from the Buccaneers.
That's fun.
Number 5, Calvin Ridley, wide receiver from the Jags. He
I thought he had a
is
year left.
overrated. Number 4, Christian Wilkins, the defensive tackle for the Dolphins. He's pretty good. I will say that. Number 3, Danielle Hunter, the edge rusher from the Vikings, who is still producing, and at age 29 had 16 and a half sacks
That's insane.
this past season, which is still crazy. Number 2, Kirk Cousins,
He's number 2.
and number 1, your guy Chris Jones, the defensive lineman from the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, Chris Jones.
Okay, so I think what we'll start out, you can go over your top 5 first, and then I will go over my top 5 and one trade target that I have for the Titans. So take it away.
All right. Well, with that being said, obviously the number one free agent pick available right now is Chiefs defensive tackle Chris Jones. I personally think that the Chiefs are going to find the money. They're going to find the available cap space to re-sign him. I don't think he's going anywhere. He's only 29. Well, I say he's only 29. That's getting up there in age for a defensive
We have
tackle.
some technical difficulties here, folks.
What's happening?
We are having some technical difficulties with your camera and mic, but go ahead.
Okay.
We'll work it out in the future.
Anyway, so he's 29 years old. That's getting up there in age for a defensive tackle. They only play until they're what, like 33, 34?
Something like that. Just tends to be most NFL players. Once they hit that age 30, they kind of level out and start to decline a little bit.
Yeah. Anyway, so in an interview done post Super Bowl, he's already come out and said that he's willing to accept less money to stay in Kansas City. He wants to three-peat. He wants to win a third Super Bowl. With that being said, the Chiefs have about, if I had to guess, as of right now, I think we've got about $20 million in cap space. And I wholeheartedly believe that we could give him a contract that would last him towards the end of his career. I think it'll be a 3-year deal at least, and it could be worth upwards of $30 million. Give him like $10 million a year. It re-signs the best defensive tackle in the league.
Sports Illustrated has a contract projection for 4 years, $112 million.
That's actually a lot more than I thought. How much would that be annually? Is there any of that money guaranteed?
I don't know. That's just a basis 4-year, $112 million contract. Don't know how much that would be.
Well, that does sound like a lot of money. I mean, it is a lot of money. But here's what I'm going to say about that. Like I said, he's already told press, media, and the Chiefs organization that he's willing to accept a pay cut. Like I said, he wants to stay in Kansas City. He wants to win his third Super Bowl.
That
With
would okay.
that being okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
That would be about $28 million a year.
Okay, so we'd have to we that would be that's great if like some of our other free agents don't re-sign with us or if we restructure some contracts. I think we could come up with the money.
But what is your again? You're not having very good camera quality right now because it keeps cutting out. What is the Chiefs' estimated cap space?
A little over 20 mil.
That's it.
Well, think of it this way: we just restructured Mahomes' contract.
Well, I guess the Mahomes contract doesn't help anything.
No, but it keeps the best quarterback in the NFL in Kansas City, so I'm not complaining about that by any means. Um,
According to
but as far as
this,
free agents go, Chris Jones, I think he's going to stay in Kansas City. I think we're going to find the money. Another Chiefs free
yeah,
agent that I want to talk about, and just as of my list of free agents, my second one is another Chiefs free agent. Technically, he's not a free agent anymore, but I do want to discuss his situation. L'Jarius Sneed. He was just franchise tagged 1 year for $19 million. Now, keep in mind, he's only 27 years old. He's young. He's still got 6, 7 years left in the league if he really wanted to. Now, he has also come out and said that he wants to stay in Kansas City, winning a third Super Bowl. Obviously, who wouldn't want to win a third Super Bowl? I think wholeheartedly that he's going to play in Kansas City under a franchise tag. Now, under any other circumstance, I would think L'Jarius Sneed would chase the money. Anyone would chase the money. If some team offers him a 5 year deal worth upwards of like $80 million, I would chase the money too. But he's in the situation where he can go back and win a third Super Bowl. And for me, if I was L'Jarius Sneed, if there was the fine line to decide between winning a third Super Bowl and getting paid big money, I'm choosing the Super Bowl. Um, so with that being said, I think he's going to play in Kansas City under a franchise tag this season. Next season, however, I think we'll give him a bigger contract. I think we'll have a little bit more cap space available, and I could see us giving an average deal 2 to 3 years, maybe between anywhere between 30 to 50 mil. I think is a fully reasonable contract for him. Now that kind of leads me into my next free agent, who's also a cornerback. He would be a good replacement for L'Jarius Sneed if, let's say, he did get traded this offseason. Now, in order for him to get traded, a team's going to have to buy out his franchise tag and then still have enough money left over to give him a contract. A lot of teams don't have that kind of cap space. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But um, the cornerback that I think would be a good replacement for L'Jarius Sneed as far as playing type, his age, the amount of money that he would accept on a contract is actually J.C. Jackson. He's 28. He's only a year older, and honestly, I think we could get away with paying him less than L'Jarius Sneed. L'Jarius Sneed's the
Gabe,
best
I
corner.
don't know if
Yep,
you can hear me, but
I can hear you.
you keep cutting out. So you're gonna have to restate almost all that you said
From
about
where?
looks it seemed like you cut out right as you said around the same age as Sneed.
Okay. Um, J.C. Jackson is 28 years old. He's only a year older than Sneed. With that being said, I think we could get away not only just because he is a year older, skill level, he's up there. He's one of the best cornerbacks in the league. I still think we could get away with paying him less money. Again, maybe give him like a 2 year deal, maybe three if we just had the cap space to do it. I'd give him like 25, maybe 30.
The good thing
Um,
is with you being the Chiefs is that you're gonna have that incentive of players that are wanting to go compete for a Super Bowl immediately.
and they'll take less money as a
Exactly.
contract. Which that was my exact thinking with both Chris Jones and L'Jarius Sneed is they're going to take less money in order to go and chase that third Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Um, Another free agent that I kind of had my eye on this offseason, again, he is a Chief. I'm doing a lot of Chiefs free agents, but that's just because we overcame so much adversity this season. We went like 10-7 on the year and somehow came back and won the Super Bowl. But the last Chiefs free agent I want to talk about is linebacker Drew Tranquil. We picked him up in free agency last season from the LA Chargers. Everyone was like, "Oh, why are you signing a linebacker? You guys got Nick Bolton and Willie Gay Jr. and we signed Leo Chanel, or we drafted Leo Chanel in the NFL draft." And what he did for the Chiefs linebacker core was absolutely incredible. Nothing shy of a miracle. He, in ways, led our defense at times. Just like J.C. Jackson, he is 28 years old. He's still got time left. Like I said, he did wonders for us. I think we could very easily get away with just giving him the same contract that we did last time. I don't think it was that big, if I remember right. And who knows? He could be a staple of our defense again next season. He could help us three-peat. But with all that being said, what those were all defensive free agents. I want to focus my last free agent on offense. I'm sure you would completely agree with me on this. The Chiefs are in need of two things, and one of which is not really a thing. It's just it would be nice. But the thing we really, really need is wide receivers.
for sure.
There's one wide receiver free agent that I think would fit in perfectly with the Chiefs offense and Mahomes' play
Cutting out
style.
again.
Chuck it. Oh yeah, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
There's one
Yes.
wide receiver in particular that I think fits into the Chiefs' play style very, very well. Um, and that is Washington Commanders wide receiver Curtis Samuel. He's 27 years old. He's still got a lot of time left. I think we could very easily get away with giving him a very similar contract as far as annual pay goes to like a Kadarius Toney or Marcos Valdez Scantling who we had last season. I think we could give him like an annual paycheck of between 7 and 9 mil. I want to say Marcos Valdez Scantling was making 11, but in my opinion, he was overpaid. Now he did have his clutch moments in the playoffs, making insane contested catches to send us into the next round. But I think we could very easily get away with giving him like a 4 year deal up to about 28 to 30 mil. I think we could give him about 7 to 8 mil annually. He would be a great piece to the puzzle on offense. He's fast. He's young. I think Mahomes could do wonders with him. So, with my free agents being said, what are you thinking for the Tennessee Titans?
First player I'm thinking about is Mike Owenu or Owanu. I do not know how to pronounce his name. The
Me
offensive lineman from
neither.
the Patriots. He is only 26. He's still young, and he's a solid offensive lineman. I could easily see us signing him on a 4 year, $48 million contract, which would be right around $12 million a year. And coming into this offseason, we have an estimated of around $72 to $75 million in cap space. We have the second or first ranked cap space in the league this season.
Y'all got
He's a
some money to
2026
spend.
round pick. He's played in 64 career games with 56 total starts. He has been playing right guard. He also played or right tackle, but he's also played guard. He switches. He kind of switches whatever the Patriots need him to do. So he's got that versatility that I think the Titans' offensive line could really use because we are the worst offensive line in the league. But moving on from that is a player that I watched a lot in college, and that is Marquise Hollywood Brown. A speed threat on the outside. He has a little bit of problems with catching, but I think that could be fixed. And as I saw him at OU, he never had problems with catching the ball. And that's one thing the Titans offense really needs is a speed threat. Most of our receivers, we are in the bottom half of the league when it comes to speed on the back end. So, and Hollywood is not that old. He is only 26. Again, another 26-year-old. I think we could easily sign him. 2 years, 22 million. That's $11 million a year, and I think that would be totally worth it for a speed threat for Will Levis on the outside, because we know Will Levis has an arm. He has a cannon. He just doesn't have that speed threat that we need on the outside.
Y'all's best receiver right now, I swear, is like Traylon Burks.
It's DeAndre Hopkins. Thank you very much.
He's not that fast though.
My next player is moving over to the defense is Patrick Queen, the linebacker from the Ravens. He is only 24, and he has been consistently over the past couple years one of the best linebackers in the league. And that's one thing that the Titans really need is another solid linebacker. I think he would fit in perfectly with this defense as a whole. I will go ahead and say I'd put him down 4 years, $60 million. That's about $15 million a year. He is
Sounds
and
perfectly reasonable.
exactly for one of the best linebackers in the league. Going over to another linebacker is re-signing Azeez Al-Shaair, a Titans linebacker who led the team in tackles, had over 150 total tackles this last season. Got
Dang.
him from San Francisco on free agents from last year, and easily was one of our best, if not our best, defensive player all year. I'd get
That I can
him
agree with.
3 years, $21 million. That's about $7 million a year. And typically, those lower level of linebackers don't get paid that much. Now, Queen making $15 million a year is perfectly reasonable in my eyes. Aziz making 7, I could see
Hmm.
that. But if we can get both of those guys, if we can get Aziz back and sign Patrick Queen, that our linebacking core would be set.
Hmm.
And then my last player for is going back over to the offense, and this is a long shot because this player is on the wrong side of 30 now, and that is the King, Derrick Henry, who
I knew you
I
were going to bring him up.
I would love to bring him back because he has obviously been the staple of our offense for the past few years.
He's been the staple of your team. What do you mean?
Oh yeah, but get him back paired with Tajay Spears, who was our third, fourth round pick from last year, who has excelled for us this past year alongside the King. But bring Henry back 1 year, 10.5
Well,
mil,
you're
small
breaking up a little bit.
contract. Get him another year in this offense. I'd get Henry back on a 1 year deal worth about 10.5 mil. It's not very much, but also he's on the wrong side of 30 for a running back. Running backs typically start to drop off after the age of 30.
I feel like every player starts to drop off by the age of 30,
Unless your
unless
name
you're.
is Thomas Brady.
Yeah, no kidding.
And then I'd like to talk about one trade target, and that trade target would be none other than the player you talked about that you all franchise tag, and that is L'Jarius Sneed.
He's not
I
going to do it.
It's not up to him, and I honestly
I think
think
it sort of is.
honestly, if Kansas City, I have seen a lot of people say this, and I completely agree with this. If Kansas City gets offered a second round pick for him, they will take it,
No, they
and
won't.
I
He's
would
worth
give
so
him
much more than that.
I would give them a second and a fifth for L'Jarius Sneed.
He's worth so
Seven
much more than that.
seven teams have contacted the Chiefs so far about L'Jarius Sneed. Those teams are the Vikings, Colts, Titans, Patriots, Lions, Falcon, and Jags, according to USA Today.
Here's my thing, though. People say it's not up to L'Jarius Sneed. I think it is because right now, with the franchise tag, technically speaking, he is on salary. He's making money with the Chiefs. So because he is making money, because for lack of better terms, it is a contract. It's just a negotiable contract.
Let me say this.
But
Let
okay,
me say this real quick. If the Chiefs didn't want to get rid of him, why would they be taking calls about him?
I think we're taking calls about him because it draws attention away from Chris Jones. Chris Jones, like you said earlier, he's the number one free agent in this class. I think if because like I said earlier, I don't think L'Jarius Sneed has any intentions of leaving Kansas City. But if we could somehow draw the attention off of Chris Jones, that draws the likelihood of re-signing both of them to a new high. So
See, I don't know about that because yes, they are both of your top defensive players from this past season. But I think them being two different positions, with Chris Jones being D line, L'Jarius Sneed being defensive back, I think that it'll hit two different markets to where teams that don't need defensive back help but need D line help will go after L'Jarius Sneed. Like for example, the Tennessee Titans. Our D line is good. We're fine, but we need defensive back help. That's why I think a trade target and a trade for L'Jarius Sneed with at least a second round pick. I would give up this year's or next year's second round pick. And if we did trade our second round pick from
Hold
this
on,
year, I think
you're having some
it'd be a
technical
telltale
difficulties.
sign that we are
You're having some technical difficulties now. The last thing I heard was
okay.
the Titans could give up whatever.
Okay. I'd at least give up a second, and I think if they gave up a second from this year, that it'd be a telltale sign that we're going to trade back in the first round, which would not surprise me at all if
Here's
we
what I
traded
think:
back from
if
7.
any team is going to trade for L'Jarius Sneed, a first round pick better be on the table. I don't think
I
the
don't know
Chiefs
if
would
you can
accept
get
it
a first
otherwise.
round pick out of him or not. Yes,
I
he's
don't.
good, and he's a
He didn't
lockdown
allow a
corner.
single touchdown until the postseason. In the postseason, I want to say he only allowed two.
You're breaking up a little bit.
I said I think a first round pick at least is fully reasonable for a cornerback who didn't allow a single touchdown in the regular season last year. Not many cornerbacks can say they did that.
Yeah. Well, with Roger McCreary did, but um, I I don't know what'll happen. We'll just have to see. But those are my 5. Your 5 are solid picks. I just hope we get the King back for one more year.
And I hope we get Chris Jones and L'Jarius Sneed. Our defense is going to go from being like the best in the league to not so hot
Yeah,
if
that's
Chris
the main
Jones
thing with
and
the
if
Titans. I
if
mean,
we can get one of them back, I'll be happy. If we can get both of them back, that's ideal. If we lose both
you're
of
breaking
them,
up, Gabe.
I said if we can get one of them back, great. If we can get both of them back, perfect. If we lose both of them,
Which
our
one, if you had to choose, which one would you bring would it be L'Jarius Sneed or Chris Jones?
okay, before I give you my answer, I have reasoning behind it. I would bring back Chris Jones for two
Okay.
reasons. The duo of Chris Jones and George Karlaftis on our D line is unmatched. Secondly, or second of all, whatever, however you want to say it, we have Trent McDuffie. If L'Jarius Sneed goes, we still have Trent McDuffie. And as you can see from his Super Bowl appearance or from his Super Bowl performance, Trent McDuffie is no joke. He can go up and make a play for the ball with just about any receiver in the league.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's where we will call it for this episode. Next episode, I think we are going to be talking about the NFL draft and what we want our teams to be. We still have not scheduled for our 2 guest speakers, but we will get those figured out and we will get those posted when we can. This has been the Rivalry Radio Sports Network. I am Hunter,
And I'm Gabe.
and we will see y'all in the next one.